Hi, everybody. I'm Elizabeth Campbell. So nice to see you virtually. Currently, I serve on the National PTA's Diversity, Inclusion, and Outreach Committee. But most of my active work with PTA was done when I was in Texas. I was on the state board in Texas for 3 two-year terms of 6 years. And today, I'm a proud mom of 2 adult sons who were beneficiaries of public education. So now you know why I'm so passionate about supporting the PTA. If everybody's from the same community and everyone has the same thoughts and same background and attended all the same meetings and activities, we aren't getting the richness that happens through diversity and outreach. We're missing something. We aren't doing the very best that we can with this effort. It's our responsibility to live into our mission and ensure that we are advancing our mission and supporting our mission. And we really are reaching out to every child. Again, this last year has shown that equal access wasn't equal. Access wasn't the same across our various communities, but we sure did care about every child. So I take this personally, and as a leader, you should as well. It is our responsibility to make sure we're going that extra mile. Think about the family member or person in the community who might want to support public education, which is no less important during the times of the pandemic, but for some reason is unable to. You don't want to be part of the person who's excluding. You want to be part of the person who is including, and that our national PTA is being inclusive. So first, let's make sure we've got all the perspectives engaged from the very beginning. Maybe we have a new PTA, or maybe we have new people moving into our community that we want to engage. So a lot of the work of inclusive meetings happens outside the meeting itself. It's intentional. It is us trying to make sure that we're getting the right perspectives or the diverse perspectives at the table, and not just inviting them to the meeting, but doing the pre-work. What are your issues? What are your concerns? What questions might you have or might you want to see addressed? So really learn your community, learn the range of interests that people have. And so that as you're planning the meeting, you can have these surfaced in the appropriate way. If I'm evaluating whether a meeting is inclusive, I think about, well, could most people who would be interested attend or participate? Now, sadly, through the pandemic, while we have watched unfortunate things happen, there has been another way of looking at things. We are finding ways to engage with people in ways that we might not have otherwise explored. I remember when the thought of doing sort of a meeting by a conference call or by Zoom would be, oh, well, if that's the only way we can do it, then we'll do it. Well, now guess what? Often that's the only way to do it. And it's very inclusive. So when I think about how do we make meetings inclusive, think about, who do I want at the table? Who do I need to be there? And have I gone to the trouble of timing, scheduling it when the interested people and people who'd want to be able to participate can actually participate? It's a lens that I try to look at. And sometimes it's not natural to do this, but as a leader, that's what you should do. Look at the meeting setup and say, have I unintentionally excluded anybody? Have I done everything I could to include those interested parties? I look at it before the meeting, during the meeting, and after the meeting. So before the meeting, set the agenda and assign roles for people who are participating. So it's not the leader running the entire meeting. Leader calls it to order, but the agenda is set. Who's going to speak on topics? How do we ensure we get multiple voices involved through the process? Craft all of that on the front end in the agenda. Again, you're the meeting facilitator. Get someone to review the outline to make sure you didn't miss anything, and send the agenda out in advance in enough time so that people can react to it. And if they have any questions or any additional items they want to bring on the agenda, that they can do so. One thing, I'm not the best at this myself, is assigning time periods. So 5 minutes for introduction, 10 minutes to discuss pending business, 10 minutes to discuss leftover business from last time, review meetings, open items, 10 minutes, wrap up, next step, 10 minutes, so that you don't spend too much time getting bogged down. Let the agenda work to your favor. Then during the agenda, run the meeting, stay on the agenda. And it doesn't sound arbitrary now when I ask someone, you're raising some good points, but we're kind of running over here. Will you do me a favor, just make some notes and send them to the team afterwards so that we can now hear from Mark or we can hear from Susan. Stay on the agenda. Agenda is your friend. And then after the meeting, have someone taking notes, or maybe it's the meeting facilitator, to send out the meeting record afterwards. Who is going to do what by when per the meeting, and then ask for feedback. So now you've been inclusive throughout the entire process of the meeting. One way to spread out engagement, if you will, or to foster inclusion, is to be intentional about identifying strengths. Everybody has a strength of some sort or another. Some of us, not me, are less inclined to come forward with it. I will tell you, I have certain strengths, and then some things I don't. Technology, not my strength. But others will, but it doesn't mean they're going to volunteer it. But as a leader, you might reach out to people individually and say, I have seen you at meetings, or you're attending, and I know you have an interest. Tell me what you really would like to do. Tell me something that you're already involved in where this work would just flow with you. Tell me something that you're good at. And if it's a one-on-one conversation, usually people won't feel that they're bragging or maybe acting inappropriately by suggesting that they're better than some people. These are really qualities where we are different. We're simply different from one another. But pulling out the strengths in people, identifying the strengths, that's a huge engagement opportunity. And you would miss it if you waited for people to volunteer. Sometimes you only have maybe 2 people who are fully engaged and they're doing all the work, and you want to honor their work and their efforts, but unfortunately it can make other people feel almost like unnecessary. Like, why did I bother to log in? What am I doing here? Can't the leader see that I want to try to help? Or people have different personalities. Some people walk in a room talking. I'm in that category. Other people are listeners. They may be introverts. They actually want to know what's exactly happening and maybe figuring out a way to step in and contribute. But a misstep can easily happen if the leader doesn't create those opportunities for everyone to speak. And if you've got people, I'll do this and I'll do that, the leader's saying, well, check the box, look at all the work we're getting done. But we're not getting it done in an inclusive way. And we may be missing out on some of the people who really could help us. Sometimes if you ask somebody, you say, there are 10 things we need to get done, and you put the whole list out there and you wait for volunteers, some people feel overwhelmed by that. But if you identify one specific item and you say, Sarah, we haven't heard from you. Would you be willing to do this one thing for us? Sarah may say, yes, I can do that. And then you just go, John, can you do this? Mark, Javier, can you? And then next thing you know, your list is taken care of and you've been inclusive. And the people maybe who were dominating the meeting earlier on, they could say, okay, they still have their responsibilities, but even their jobs are easier. It's talk less, listen more. The reason I tell you this one, it's mine. This is my personal goal. Someone said this, and I think it was Larry King. I don't learn anything when I'm talking. I learn by listening. Most people will learn when they're listening or reading or absorbing information for others or from others. But to some people, it's not the first instinct. So the one thing you can do is talk less and listen more. And just check in periodically. How are you doing? How am I doing as a leader? Do you have any feedback for me? Just ask. By the way, just that process is an inclusive process. When you show yourself vulnerable and open to feedback, we're all in this together. We're all in it to drive National PTA's mission for every child.